about 2 to 3 scriptures that came to it immediately.
Please.
And it's really just adding a lot of perspective into like, you know, these things, they're in your heart. It makes perfect sense. It hits you this deeply to hear an illustrative story, but it's not what you practice mentally. A lot of the overload, which we'll dive into, that I feel is, if I had to weigh it up, it would probably be like 80-20, 80% just mental, of just like worrying about things that have not happened or might not ever happen, just all hypothetical things that I try to prepare myself for.
Or things that have already happened.
For sure. Mm-hmm. But the one scripture that's like freshly in my mind right now is, it says, so a cubit is a measurement of something. The ark was measured in cubits. Mm-hmm. And the scripture says, who of you, by being anxious, can add 1 cubit to his lifespan? Nobody. I've been around very exertive professionals. I've been around people that do things on a whim, and they go to sleep and wake up the same way that I do. They have the same 24 that I have. So that's just, it's a whole lot of context that I appreciate Wade Saylor presenting to us.
So do you think what you're saying is we all wake up with the same 24, how you choose to approach it or even take on the day's task is just within your own, you know what I'm saying, type of like perspective or mindset, or, you know what I mean, how within your own right, if you will?
Exactly. I've shared with people that are close to me how preventative of a person I think that I am, how calculated I am. Mm-hmm. Some of it I can't help. A lot of it, I believe that I can start to help, but it's also that I can avoid any level of stress that I haven't planned for. Mm-hmm. I don't like to be caught off guard, whether it's by bills or by hostile situations. I don't like to be caught off guard by anything. I like to be prepared for everything that comes my way. Mm-hmm. And saying that out of my mouth right now, it's just kind of insane because you can't prepare for everything.
You can't. I was always, I ran across this quote not too long ago, is thinking logically 24/7 is illogically thinking. I think it was something like that. It was something around those lines, you know what I'm saying? But I thought that was very like interesting, you know what I mean? Because for a lot of men and a lot of, you know what I'm saying, people who are like us, you know, there's women like that are like this as well, but we try to think logically about everything. Mm-hmm. Everything has a logical answer. Everything is very black and white. Everything is very yes or no. And there's so many different things that are just different shades of different colors. And you know what I mean? That you can't just sit on one side or the other side about, because the details in it are just so important. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean?
Not just the details. Mm-hmm. I've also been learning lately through my partnership with my person, through friends, through people that live in more ebb and flow lifestyles, that the feelings also matter. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's color though.
Yeah,
you know
color.
I mean? I think that's one of those things where you can't deny like how you feel about something.
I'm never really trying to talk about how I feel, but the moment that I do, I feel some relief, and why not make that a habit?
Right. Why not make that a habit?
I'm asking myself.
You just said it out loud. Right. It's like, no, like I think you should be more comfortable to express more, or put yourself in places where expressing yourself doesn't feel like such a burden.
Like a podcast?
So with that being said, do you guys think that, and again, this is all very...
He says that when he's about to say some bullshit. Go ahead.
Right. This is all very nuanced. Let's talk about the idea of preparing for the future. Is it actually counterproductive for the 24 hours that's in front of you?
Yes, but no. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's such a... I think it's both. I think it's yes and no.
Tell another story.
The only reason why I say yes and no is because yes is one of those things where setting what you're doing up tomorrow, you can prepare for that today. You know what I'm saying? Let's say that we have a show tomorrow. If I rehearse today, I'm good for the show tomorrow. You know what I mean? But no, because if I have a show today, I have to focus on making it to tomorrow, you know what I mean, through today. Like, I got to make sure I don't die in a car crash. I got to make sure that, you know what I mean, things happen in a way to where I'm able to make it to that time, you know. So it's just one of those things where I have no fucking idea. That's a yes and no answer to me, you know.
For some reason, I got Chef Kenny in the back of my mind. For some reason, thinking about like the spreadsheets he showed me and just him like telling the team back when we worked there together, the systems that are in place so that other things don't fail. Mm-hmm. So right now, I'm just imagining, because I don't have the end all answer. Maybe if you work on in that 24 efficient systems that last and stay working while you're asleep so that things don't fail in the future, maybe that's the answer, to make sure that you're efficiently putting things in place that work for you while you rest. I'm assuming.
That's very interesting. Trying to get to that level though is I think is the goal for all of us. And, you know, just trying to get to a level to where things could work for us while we're not in so we don't have to be directly involved. And yeah, I think that's a very good example, actually.
I think treating things as seasons of preparation, seasons of
like ants. A lot of creation works in what we're talking about.
Right.
A lot of God's
seasons
creation.
of preparation, seasons of harvest, seasons of. So yeah. Talk about
no, absolutely. No, seasons, like you take these couple months to prepare for these couple months. Like, you know what I mean? You prep here, and here. So when it's time to execute and it's time to do it, but that's what I said, like, you know what I mean? Focus on today. Today I rehearse, tomorrow I perform. You know what I mean? Those are seasons within themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Of course, they're only days apart, but at the same time, it's literally within hours. An hour is a long time. You know what I mean? We fly through hours because it's just, you know what I'm saying, how shit goes. But if you think about that shit, bro, an hour is a long fucking time to be able to do something. You know what I mean? It's quick and when you're busy. But when you're doing nothing, it drags. You know what I mean? So when you fill that hour with things to do, you fill those hours with, you know what I'm saying, things to execute or even to prepare for execution. You know what I mean? Because the show is what, like 45 minutes to an hour maybe, you know, so that flies by. When I'm on stage, bro, and we're on stage for 45 minutes, that shit is like, it flies by. Like, before I know it, we're on the last song. And I'm like, bruh, fuck. Like, I feel like I only did like 4 verses. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where when it happens, it flies by when you have it set up to where for this hour, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So when you set those hours previous to make this hour that important, those seasons that you take advantage of, you know what I mean, are very important. Very important.
So how as creatives can we tell if our preparation has outweighed what it is we're capable of harvesting?
I got to digest that question more.
So we plan, and we never execute. We plan, and we haven't even, capitalized on the ability that we have in the left hand, but we've been burdening the right hand, essentially.
Yeah.
How do you justify when enough preparation has happened?
I don't think you can, though. I think at some point it has to be, let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? Because being a rapper, I've literally sat with lyrics for 6 months before I record them. You know what I mean? And I've sat with beats for years before I've actually written to them. You know what I mean? And you can't, there's no perfect timing for anything. You know what I mean? It's just either you're going to or you're not. You know, when the timing happens, it'll be right within itself. Like, you know what I mean? So it's either you're going to or you're not. If I see myself like, damn, I might eventually write to this, I'm going to keep it. You know what I mean? If I write this verse to this beat or this hook or something, it's like, I'm going to eventually use this. I don't know when, but I will, you know what I mean? I'm going to keep it. So when I get into the studio, it's like, yo, somebody, do you have something to record? It's like, absolutely. You know what I mean? And I can pull this out and I can do it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It feels dated. Like, you know what I mean? It feels like this, but I'm glad that I took the time out to like do it the way that I wanted to, you know?
In my field, photography, and I'm thinking on both ends, my creative works versus my clientele work. I've already noticed very early in my life that I work very well under pressure. So whether that's so just focusing on client work right now, whether that means maybe some edits are still, I don't ever go outside of my delivery windows, but sometimes those edits might sit to like those last few hours that they're due or those last few days. And I still impress myself with my outcome, but say that I'm running myself rapid by too much preparation, or in the case, not enough. Maybe I missed an angle that really would have made this photo even hit more. Or we take this over to creative works. I've got notebooks full of like the way that I want exhibits to be laid out, feelings that I want to expound on visually, a lot of ideas that I know would make beautiful production, but they've just sat there. And they might motivate me in the moment to like put out a hint for it, put out some type of marketing or whatnot. But if I'm not creating those things to tell myself or to just bring them to fruition all the way, I feel like that's an injustice.
Do you feel like you put like, what does it look like when there's a lot of things that look like that? Like, let's say that you have like 6 to 7 different to 10 different things of like, yo, all of these can turn into beautiful productions, but where do I start?
That's, you know what I mean? What I'm getting at with the preparation. Where does the line happen? And again, you said sometimes it's a year, sometimes, but you have instances where you know whatever it was that was prepped was necessary, but also how long is too long? How long is, and are you depriving yourself as an artist to not execute sooner?
Absolutely, I am.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So dive in.
No. I mean, I don't. The only reason why I don't think so is because the timing feels good over here for you, it may not. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to rush anything if you could have put like extra sauce on it, or you know what I'm saying, something that made it even more, you know what I'm saying, extravagant than it already is. You know what I mean? If there's a new ad lib or something that you could have put on it, or there's this bar that you may come across, because as an auditory artist, I come across bars in the most random of predicaments, like, you know what I'm saying, at work, in the doctor's office, just wherever you come across just like saying something completely profound, and you just were not ready for it, and then you get that inspiration, you write it down. So I'm listening to beats over here to where I could have been done, but now I got this bar that I want to say on this specific beat. I'm exchanging bars. I'm taking shit out and putting shit in, or I'm adding it at the end and then creating a whole stanza around it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like there's no like, because once it's undeniable, it's undeniable. Like, you know what I'm saying? For Heisenberg, when I did Heisenberg, that was written like 6 months into me recording it. You know what I mean? And when I did it, it was like, oh, this is dope. We need a video to this immediately. You know what I'm saying? We did the video and it came out tight because it was tight. Just, it was a universal, not time constricted tight. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of things be time constricted, dated, if you will. And a lot of people aren't able to vibe with it because, damn, this would have been cool like a year ago. It's like, no, I don't make music for that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't make music that would have been cool a year ago. I make music that's cool from now to the beginning of hip hop to the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can fucking rap. That's, you know what I mean? And so a lot of people make the music that's popular now, whatever. Like, but when you're not making that, you know, you should just be long lasting and timeless.
So it sounds like it works in your favor to kind of let things ruminate.
I like ruminate. Yeah, I like ruminate. It's nice.
But in my favor, I know that not producing the things that I plan out, or just not producing anything that I come up with creatively in my mind, because this is all creative work that I'm talking about. Clientele, I execute because that's a service, but transparent moment between all of us, we know that I have not put out any body of anything. I'd say that 98, if not 99% of my work is all clientele work, and it brings to mind something that Aaron Kendrick, an artist critique, a very valued member in the community, just brought up in a panel recently. She said, work with your retrospect in mind. She says that's something that she continues to work with towards, in her 100th year being a creative, she'll have this beautiful body of work to, leave her legacy.
Yeah.
There's nothing physical, tangible that I can flip through that shows what my mind came up with all these years. And that's just saying it out loud right now. That's something that I have to prioritize, to pay respects to the position of being a photographer in Jacksonville.
And just respect to yourself.
Absolutely. And to myself as well.
Yeah.
So
taking on a solo project is something that, like, I would love to see you do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Clientele is clientele. Like, you know what I mean? It's never going, that shit's never going to change because you are who you are. Mm-hmm. But taking on a solo project and then being the forefront of something, you know what I mean? Being the person that is like, yo, this is my idea. Like when Mel Jackson did the lookbook, right? You know what I mean? That was really dope. I feel like he does more solo work than anything else. And
that gets him his highest clients, he told me.
Yeah. And like, I think that will work the same for you if you give yourself that chance. Give yourself that opportunity.
I think the biggest goal is for clientele to hire you for who you are. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we get lost in that, the idea that we're just trying to get hired to pay bills. But I know from a rap standpoint and music standpoint, you've cornered that. Mm-hmm. You've been able to dive into what it is that makes Flash the Samurai on a track. I know for you, you just discussed, it's been difficult to do that. Mm-hmm. It was a hard thing for me to find. Why do you think, even though and I say we, artists in general are creating, and this is on both sides of the spectrum, mm-hmm. why do you think it is that artists are creating, but they're not creating the things that they want to create?
It could be a reflection of the times, possibly. Maybe their circumstance doesn't allow them to focus on it, or maybe they don't see value in
their own minds.
Ideas. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. My ideas can get me paid and continually funding me to continue creating organic material just for me.
No, I agree 100%. I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to rappers adjusting their sound mm-hmm. to what people are I guess doing or what they're listening to, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like I said on a previous podcast, I've never adjusted with the world at all. Mm-hmm. Because my creative stance is literally just go do what it is that you want to do, you know what I mean, and make the world adjust to you. Mm-hmm. And that's how I go about it. For other people aren't as strong-willed, you know what I'm saying, nor are as skilled in the field that they want to do because they don't take the time to skill themselves in it. They don't take the time to practice in it. And so for me, I want to make sure that I'm practicing. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that I'm as skilled in my field so the world and how it changes around me doesn't matter for what I'm doing.
Where do you make time for new skills and not running into overload or running into, to where it interferes with what you do now already?
I feel like everybody runs into overload. Mm-hmm. I think overload is almost inevitable when you try to be a certain kind of artist or a certain level of artist. Overload is inevitable. It's about how you deal with it. And it's also about how you're able to identify it. Because if you're not able to identify it, you're never going to know that it's happening. Mm. For me, I've been overloaded in my personal life, which kind of overloaded my art as well. Mm. And so I'm trying to be a better person as far as managing what's going on around me, overloading my personal schedule with people who don't really serve me, with activities that don't really serve me, with excessive this, excessive that, and making sure that like I'm able to clear up space for my art to really breathe and to really thrive. And I have not been doing a good job of that as of late. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm able to recognize it, and I'm able to, you know, just do what I need to do to get past it. You know what I mean? That's why we're here.
Right.
You know, so do you see overload in the space that you're in currently?
For sure, 1,000%. I noticed so a friend of mine showed me the efficacy of having a calendar and planning things out so many months ago.
Hold on.
No, you just pulled out efficacy like it was nothing. Like
I'm gonna drop these words.
Yeah, do your thing, kid.
Per episode. But now my life is run by Google Calendar. Literally, it's the first thing, it's the last thing that I check on the day. In conjunction with my Bible. But when I study that,
See it? Whoa, bro.
what?
It's when the religious people just flex their it's a sprinkle of religion just in everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, religious people just will sprinkle that shit in conjunction with my Bible. Just like I'm with you, but damn,
It's a tool of mine.
fair enough.
You made the J longer just so it would hit.
Yeah, that's funny as fuck.
But when I study that calendar, as many clients is on there because I make sure that I reach certain quotas so that certain bills are paid within certain times and so forth. But there is no type of scheduling rest on there.
Yeah.
Rest kind of just is at this point, rest is a privilege that I run into when it finds me.
It's like a take it when you can get it type shit.
Absolutely. So overload is. And I don't even think that it's interesting that you said like you have to recognize overload to be able to do anything about it. I think that it's because I work so well under pressure and in, like I keep on saying on this platform, airplane mode, that I've really identified it as like a kind of motivation, but it's not. I'm using it for motivation, but it's not healthy. So, I mean, I don't know who else can relate to that. I assume a lot of creators could relate to it in different fields across the board. I know why I do it. It's not so that I can come on a podcast and talk and brag about it. It's because
that sounds like what you're doing.
Right. It's because it's my way of making things happen. It's not a hobby I choose, but it's a practice that I want to try to just implement healthier ways, start scheduling rest, scheduling vacations and things like that so that I can be the best vendor, but creative as well, partner, and all other hats that I wear.
Yeah, your work ethic is something that like I've always come to admire about you. I think that a lot of people would benefit, from the way that you view your line of work wherever you are. You put your best foot forward and you do the best job that you can do. You know,
that's all I've seen. Like that was my mother. That was the people that I respect in the fields that I've been in.
But you've done it in a sense where it won't benefit you outside of it.
What do you mean?
Like even in our where we, you know what I'm saying, kind of birthed this thing, like it was just like your work ethic was more so way above average, if you will, as far as putting things together, making sure shit was straight, just all of these different things. And I'm looking at you as like, yo, like you're sweating after grabbing glasses.
I think
like, you know what I mean? Like this just...
It's a reflection of the pride that I like to keep. I know that my name in spaces carries a certain type of weight. And my mother taught me, and even the organization that I grew up in all my life.
This nigga's a Jehovah's Witness.
I used to be. Let's get that right.
Oh, my fault.
He done tried it on 2 episodes. Knowing that your name carries weight and stature, I take pride in what my name carries. So that's the reason I work the way that I do.
I respect that.
We've talked a lot about the things from childhood that have carried over into what it is we do today, whether they be negative or positive. When do you feel it's time or not time to shed some of those things and become a better version of yourself rather than just what was instilled in you from a young age?
Maybe when you identify how detrimental it's been to do it the way you've been doing it.
Talk about it.
What about you?
I don't think that you should shed it at all. Actually, I think that there's things to grow from it. So if I was taught a certain way, and I grow up learning these things, or, you know what I'm saying, just having this thing subconsciously in the back of my head, me using it to make my decisions, you know what I mean? If I don't like where it's placed me, then it's time to shed it. But like I told you guys, like on the episode, like my mom said, make wise decisions and choose your friends wisely. You know what I'm saying? Just make good decisions, choose your friends wisely. That was it. And me doing that has put me in a very good position. So I don't shed that because it's done nothing but make me a better person. If I keep that in the back of my head, I keep, you know what I'm saying, flourishing and doing things the right way. You know, so for me, I think when it, like he says, once you see it diminishing or deteriorating your life, then you shed that, you know what I'm saying? Because it never has done anything positive for you. But if it's a positive thing that they taught you that you could subconsciously retain and still continue to thrive off of, what are we shedding it for?
Spitting them words. I really appreciate hearing it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, what are we shedding it for? You know? So it's just for me, like I just appreciate because my mom's never told me anything wrong that was going to hurt me. You know what I mean? Even if it was in a sense of when she was saying it, she didn't know in what reference it would be into my life. You know what I mean? I took those words to heart and I, you know what I'm saying, continue to thrive on and let it put me in positions to where, you know what I'm saying, I was always kind to people who I saw were actually genuine good fucking people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just, you know, it just works out that way. Gang, shout out to us.
I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, bro, I'm really out here. I make niggas draw blanks. You lucky I ain't rap.
That's wild.
You know what I'm saying? You lucky I ain't rap. Okay, so
I've got a follow up to that, but I was hoping that he would.
That's kind of like all I had to say about it. Is like once you see that it's detrimental.
So has there been a time that you've seen? Is there something that you have shed that has had a negative effect on what it is that you do or who you are as a person?
I'm gonna just like start talking into it, but the only thing that I think that I've started to shed, because it's still been a very new metamorphosis for me lately, is the information that I take in. Growing up in that organization kept you very shielded from certain information so that nothing gets tainted. And there's just been information that I've conscientiously, outside of what I've been taught and influenced, had to decide on, do I want to open up my mind to this to see how I feel about it, rather than that's a door that you don't open because it's frowned upon. So the information that is available out here, I've been able to just decide for Wesley that this is something I want to make my own decision on. Outside of that, I'm trying to think what else. Really just decision-making processes and knowledge.
How much did you take from involving yourself in, well, I won't say you involved yourself. You were
How much of my identity was that?
Yeah, how much is it still today?
Oh, a good...
I think that's what I'm more so asking. How much is it still today?
I'm a complete reflection of the organization I was raised in, all the way. The reason that...
100%.
Yeah, the reason that my heart is the quality that it might be, the reason that I extend my help to people, the reason that I carry a lot of pride in my work, the way that I look, the way that I talk, literally.
Wait, they're responsible for how well you dress?
Yeah.
What?
Not style-wise.
Was stepping like that?
They step. Not style-wise, but like...
Jehovah's Witness?
100%.
They're not wearing jeans to like...
Church folk.
meetings. Like I literally grew up in suits.
Why
all
have I
the
never
time.
experienced a Jehovah's Witness knocking at my door?
It's not just Jehovah's Witness.
I'm just asking.
Oh, knocking at your door?
Yeah, like they never like knock at my door and be like, yo, will you like us? Because I always wanted to be like, nah, nigga, I'm an atheist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just to get them off my porch.
And we got comebacks for that. Like it's a very, 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 very doctrinated, organization.
Wow.
So
Why
yeah,
y'all so serious? Shit.
not a lot to play with out here.
Talk your shit, King. It's not a lot to play with out here.
100% transparency. I would lay as nude as publicly possible in the driveway.
Yeah, really?
For situations such as that.
Wow.
Bro, no, we're not stopping at your head, my nigga.
I was malicious as shit.
I get
Dog, that shit would be crazy.
So I want to ask you, Flash, just based off of what you said. So there's nothing from your childhood that you feel as though negatively impacted who you are and the decisions and behaviors that you have today.
Oh, absolutely. I thought we were talking about just from our parents specifically, but no, absolutely. I've like seen niggas wild out. I'm not gonna say on mic what I've seen, but I've seen niggas wild out to where, you know what I mean? And I've seen once you see it, you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? And you see somebody act in a certain way, and then those certain scenarios come up further on and down the line, and you think you have to act in that way as well. And so trying to break out of those habits, trying to break out of habits of being on point or sitting with my back a certain way so I can see an exit, so I can see certain things, like breaking out of those habits and feeling comfortable in public places is something that I'm still trying to, you know what I'm saying, as an adult, break out of. I'm trying to break out of those very cautious, very, you know what I'm saying, because in my opinion, it can go down anywhere, you know, and I need to be able to see an exit. There's no way I can have my back to it. Whoever the fuck just came in, I need to be able to see who just came in. I need to be able to watch their movements. I need to be able to watch their mannerisms and their emotions and how they're interacting with the people around them and all of these different things, because my mind is wired a certain way because of childhood. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Have you ever turned introspective with that viewpoint and realized how much of that, as it's very valid, a lot of that I hold as well, that can be very deeply entrenched in our culture. But have you ever realized how much of that at its essence is projections of what you think and feel in your background?
Absolutely. I think it's all a projection of what my mind is and where the environment was like. I'm not going to say it on a mic, but there's moments in growing up where you see people be on point and save their own lives.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Literally save the lives of themselves and the people around them, you know? And once you see that, it makes you be like, well, fuck, like I can't slip at any moment. If I'm slipping, then that could cost my life and anybody else around me. You know what I mean? And so moving forward and moving on, like through like you just keep that in the back of your mind. Like even working at Silky's, when somebody walks in, I'm immediately like, who the fuck is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's walking in here and what are they on right now? Especially in Springfield. Especially in Springfield. That's a area to where anything can go wrong and there's nothing you can do about it. From crackheads coming in to kids up the block coming in, like at any given point, something can just go left and you have to be ready for it.
So do we scratch what we opened this episode up with about how far ahead and how counterproductive that it might be for us to plan so far ahead when anything could happen even when you are on point?
Absolutely. But it also makes you within the moments have your skills or mindset as sharp as possible, so those 24 hours mean the most to you. You know what I mean? You plan ahead, but those 24 hours are the sharpest 24 that you can give.
So the idea that tomorrow is never promised, and not necessarily in a life or death standpoint, but what tomorrow brings is never promised. The idea of being prepared for tomorrow benefits you more than living in today?
That's a very loaded question.
Right, go ahead.
That's a very loaded question. Because that's yes, but once again, it's also a fucking no. You know what I'm saying? You can prepare yourself for tomorrow, but there's so many freak accidents. You know what I'm saying? A tree could fall through here and kill all of us right now at this moment. You know what I'm saying? Knock on wood. But at the same, real wood. That ain't. Hey, knock on that wood. Knock on that for me too. Oh.
That ain't.
Are we good?
But it's wood.
Yeah, okay, bad. Okay,
not
cool.
For me.
So, but there's so many different things that can happen around you that you can't control. You know what I mean? And so being prepared for today is the preparation of yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter really. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what day you prepare for as long as you are prepared. You know what I mean? As long as whatever goes down, you're prepared for. It don't matter what day it go down on. As long as you are sharp enough to survive this 24, fuck it.
That brings me back to the beginning of there's a whole lot of ifs.
A whole lot of ifs.
Very loaded. Very loaded. Do the ifs even matter? Do the ifs even matter?
They do, because of how often they happen.
Go ahead.
How often they happen. The statistics and science behind life has to matter and factor into where it's just like that one friend you won't let drive. That's how we all have that. We all have that friend. We all have that person to where when they get behind the
I'm good.
I was pointing at him.
Are you serious?
I just drove for you.
That's because I was drunk. Come on.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, even sober.
Yeah.
I feel like I've ridden with everybody in the room, and that applies to none of us.
No, that applies to none of us.
I don't feel like that applies to any of us. I know the person.
No.
We know the people.
Exactly. We all have that one person to where if we had to get home, you would rather drive drunk as hell than let this person drive sober. You know what I mean? That's just literally, and that's just the statistics of how life is,
right?
And that's the awareness of the people around you. This person may be a good fucking person, they may have a good fucking heart and soul, but their awareness is shit. You know what I mean? And so it's those independent variables that make you have to be aware and sharp for today.
Do you think they experience more joy than the average on-point person?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I had no awareness, I'd have a grand fucking time all day. I'd put myself in a lot more dangerous positions, but absolutely.
So the idea that ignorance is bliss
is only half true.
So talk about it.
Okay, well,
that's why I said it, because you were leaning into that. You just said if you did not have the awareness that other people
I got
have,
a lot to say about that shit.
Go ahead.
You were guaranteed joy, in a sense.
But you are also guaranteed very dangerous.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm going out of the creative tangent into a spiritual life tangent. Forgive me.
Please, it's the source. It feeds our creativity. So please.
You've been sprinkling the whole episode. Go ahead.
And it's always been a very heavy, innate heavy responsibility to have the knowledge that I do of the scriptures. And knowing that, especially from before adolescence is considered maybe 12 to 15, 16, something like that. So having a extremely heavy understanding of what Revelations means and what your responsibility and your efficacy at these doors knocking at 7 to 10 years old, what that means for these people's lives behind these doors, just all of that doctrine, which I'm not speaking against or for at all, but appreciative of, and that's what shaped me. That's been the heaviest responsibility that I've ever carried in my life, because it's been in my life, in my mind and in my heart I'm 29, for 20 something years. But I've always seen people that don't necessarily prioritize that knowledge or those responsibilities. And they seem to just been having the time of their lives, all of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question. What ignorance is bliss. But I don't really opt for the bliss.
I don't really either.
To be honest,
not 100% anyway. Like,
I feel like I'm able to more deeply enjoy what joy is, and
still have the knowledge that necessary. You know what I mean?
To have the knowledge to pull me through tribulation. And I feel like I even appreciate the tribulation that I experience because I know how it's grinding me down to somebody sharp. So what about you? How do you view ignorance and bliss and all that?
As far as ignorance, Jesus Christ, and bliss and how that shit, like, it's only 50% true to me. I feel like a lot of it is like, yeah, no, I don't know about this, so fuck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, politics is, I don't give a shit about no politics. Fuck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you don't get plagued by that until you're a lot older. You know what I mean? And if you make it to be older, you know, a lot of us don't plan on making it to be older. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that type of bliss is very tangible. But then you live in a certain type of, you go get a crib in a neighborhood that's not fucking good. And then it's just like, man, I don't know nothing about this neighborhood. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Now your car's gone the next day because somebody done hit a lick on your stupid ass because you wasn't the hitter, you were the lick. And you know what I mean? And now it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, bro, that type of ignorance, know where you're going. Like, you know what I mean? Immediate ignorance isn't the same as long-term ignorance. You know, immediate ignorance is going to cop from a plug in a neighborhood that you don't know nothing about. That's immediate ignorance.
Right.
Imagine you go and buy 2 pounds from, nobody's doing that, by the way. Imagine you even go imagine even being somebody from the beach, knowing nothing about Moncrief or Audis, going to cop a quarter pound from a plug. You know what I'm saying? From those like neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? But you know nothing about them. But they know that you a sweet nigga from the beach.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You pull up over there, you might get robbed. That ignorance ain't bliss. You just didn't know where you were going.
So on that same thought, what would you relinquish out of your mind for some relief on mental overload?
I think a lot of mental overload is just based off of the person that you are. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say, to relinquish it, you have to know what gets you to relax and know what gets you to organize yourself. The things that are in your way as distractions and the things that are, you know what I'm saying, are actually important to help you line these things up and knock them out one by one. You know what I'm saying? Because you can knock these things out one by one, but you got all of this distraction in front of you. Like, you know what I mean? And that's how you overload yourself because you never got started on the first thing that you needed to finish. You know? I think that's... I don't know.
So we've talked about overload in a creative sense. We've talked about overload
spiritually
in our lives, spiritually, emotionally.
Can I icing on the cake the overload?
Please. I did not have a 3.
So, and this will be our wrap.
Right.
Both of you guys talked about an impending doom.
Yeah, we did.
You could die, nigga.
With you, it was Revelations.
Yeah.
And the heart for other people. With you, it was the idea that not even making it to an older age. Both very real world experiences that many people deal with. How does impending doom add to the plate of what we're worried about tomorrow? And how does that affect the creativity that you have? And how does that affect who you are as a person on a day-to-day? With you, not tomorrow's never promised in the sense of, again, to another neighborhood, to this, to that. For you, the idea of of Revelations, the tribulations you go through in the process. We worry about...
I don't even want to unpack that. It's about to get real.
Right. No. We worry about the car payment.
Right.
We worry about rent.
Right.
We worry about where are my groceries coming from.
But you about to eat the unhealthiest meal that you ever...
And that's the nickels and dimes when we talk about overload. The overload is now you're both dealing with impending doom.
If I just real quick disclaimer,
Go ahead.
I unpack that, it's literally gonna like make me walk into talking about like my responsibility for being on this earth, which is to spread the good news and da 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 da. And if I don't do that, nothing that I do as a creator, this is literally what I talk about all the time. That's why like photographer is not my identity. My identity is like my relationship with whatever we call him, Jehovah God, Allah,
whatever you call him.
Yeah.
No, talk your
But,
shit.
like, on
don't talk our shit.
No. So this.
Yeah. I'm saying that like that's my like
projecting
end all be all.
Absolutely. You get your shit off, and then we can come together and then talk about it.
There will be
I don't
no
want
one.
to.
Huh? You said you don't want to?
I will.
No. If you are uncomfortable, we will not.
We will not.
It's just literally like that's like I don't know like nothing that I'm doing matters if I'm not teaching people about God.
So let's again
Fair
the
enough.
idea.
Do you talk about that on a podcast?
That's yes.
Nigga, this is your platform,
right.
What are you talking
Everything. So this is the other thing is even just to critique it from the sake of you guys both talked about again like I said impending doom. So all of this preparation and all of this the what does it matter?
Yeah, I can keep it light.
That's so again, even if you, I'm not saying that you have to, I'm saying if you're not comfortable, you can keep it in that vein.
Yeah, I will.
So again, if there is impending doom, which again is very real world for everybody
Very real
out there.
world for everyone.
Honestly.
And everyone has their own.
Probably good that we're talking about this shit.
Everyone has their own. And from a creative side of things, I think we're in tune more than most. What is that to you? And why does the tomorrow matter?
That is a good wrap up.
Why does the tomorrow matter?
Okay, so
That's
I will say this.
Matter?
Impending doom for me, and I can only speak for myself personally, as a person who been around people with guns on them to where that could have been pointed in my direction, you know what I'm saying? Or things could have happened to where I wouldn't be here right now. You have to be, that's crazy. Is that going to come through?
A little bit, yeah. This was harder than the other. Like the other day, at least it was like.
No, this is a tropical storm.
This is a special effect.
Finally?
At least it was like shh.
Yeah.
It's like
clack, 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 clack.
But go ahead.
So it's raining outside, ladies and gentlemen, of course. So I think for me, like I was saying, you have to become okay with whatever happens. Being prepared, being sharp, being this type of individual to be able to exist in different areas. Like, I can't be Flash the Samurai here and not be that same person in a, you know what I'm saying? If I'm abrasive here, why would I not be abrasive, like, you know what I'm saying, around someone else? Why would I not be the same kind of person? Because this person here is okay with whatever happens. If this tropical depression takes me out, you know what I'm saying, on my way home, I have to be okay with that. Like, I would be okay with dying at the age of 99 on a bed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I mean? In my impending doom that way. It has to be the same kind, because for me, death is just the beginning of, you know what I'm saying, my experience. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is just so physical and so whatever, you know what I mean? I just have to be on point to where you're not going to take me out as easily as you think you are. That's all. Tomorrow is just one of those things. Tomorrow is more the gift than the present is, because I was on point for 24 hours to where I didn't die. You know what I'm saying? So tomorrow is just like, oh man, I'm really that nigga. I made it to the next day. because I was on point this whole time. Not saying I didn't put myself in any harm's way. I went to the gym where I could have been crushed by weights. I drove where I could have been hit by a semi-truck. I did all of these things to where I made it to the next 24 hours, which is really the gift. I woke up, you know what I'm saying, because my body, you know what I mean, did what it needed to do while I was sleeping to get me to the next day, you know? So it's just one of those things where you're just grateful for just being, you know, and understanding that what it takes to be within for the next 24 hours, you know? So tomorrow matters, but, you know, being on point today is why tomorrow matters. If that makes sense.
I can kind of relate to that sentiment. I definitely view tomorrow as a privilege that I don't necessarily deserve by just the definition of what sin pays. The wages sin pays is death. So as a whole, that just makes me... If I were to lose my eyesight tomorrow or my creative gift and not being able to photograph, if I literally wasn't able to just press the camera shutter, at the end of the day, what's most important to me in my exchange and this human experience with people is to inform them about the knowledge that I have of the scriptures. And I don't say that as a Bible thumper. I don't say that as an over-righteous, zealous person. I say that as a humble human being on this earth that is filled by the peace that the scriptures give me. I've never been a person that's moved by words of affirmation from my friends, my peers, my
me neither.
Partner, any of that. It really doesn't move me because I only believe I take more of what I believe in my mind weighs more than what people are able to formulate to me in a sentence.
You affirm yourself.
Absolutely.
And I feel the same way.
Absolutely.
I feel the same way.
So yeah, that's like my end all be all. If I'm not filling somebody else's cup with the Holy Spirit that hopefully I'm doing the inner work to maintain, then nothing else that I do, no preparation of yesterday or today or tomorrow matters to me. It's more important to me that my spirit encourages people, inspires people, or educates people. That's what matters most to me.
But this is why you have to say what you have to say these things. You specifically have to say these things because nobody else who watches this who knows you would have thought that.
I know it's something that I share and interchange close and personally.
Yeah, but a lot of your clients aren't close and personal with you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They're clients.
A public beacon.
Yeah, you are that. You are a creative beacon in this community. You know what I mean? And so when people see that you have a podcast, I know he has things to say. I know you had things to say. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's just like I've talked to you and I was just like, no, you need to get on the mic and actually be able to talk your shit. Like, you know what I mean? I know I'm going to talk because that's just who the fuck I am. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you specifically, dog, like hearing that just now was like, yes, like I feel that from you every single time we get up. Like, you know what I'm saying? You speak nothing but life into me. You know what I'm saying? To where my cup is full anytime we stop hanging out or anytime we, you know what I mean, depart from each other. I always feel like my cup is full. Like the same goes with Kyle. Kyle doesn't know he do that, but fuck Kyle. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where, you know, I'm just very appreciative that you have this platform that you help create, you know what I'm saying, and you're able to really say what it is that you feel. I never want you to feel like you have to hold back here. You know what I mean? You should be able to express as much as you like to, bro. You know what I'm saying? On your platform, who the fuck is gonna tell you what to do on your platform? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just a thank you, like always. You know what I'm saying? To be able to express that, bro, because I wanted to hear that, and I know there's other people who wanted to hear that as well.
Absolutely, and I would have planned the hell out of this podcast and never brought it to fruition if I kept planning it. Yeah. So I appreciate the action that you took. It's right in line with what we're talking about, and it's actively here now. We're catering it every day, trimming it with the pristine help and care from Kyle Wade Taylor, behind the scenes, on camera, and all that. So I appreciate what y'all help force into fruition.
Absolutely. I don't like to say it's forced. I think it was just one of those things where it's like, yo, let's stop talking about it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's how I always feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we talked about it for months before we actually started even putting things into, you know what I'm saying, in line. And then there are so many people who rock with us as individuals to see us together. They'd be like, yo, I would love to come be a part of this.
Right.
You know, and so I'm just very appreciative of that. You know what I mean? Because your face card is very good in this city, and mine is as well, to where we can bring almost anybody we want on here and have a very decent conversation and continue to like propel our platform forward. You know what I'm saying? We are about to wrap this up though. You know, this has been Project and Reflect. Wade Sailor, Flash the Samurai, Rakim, aka Rakimism. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys. Peace. Love.